Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Nelson. Here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from the Vatican. Pope Francis welcomed a delegation of the German Evangelical Lutheran Church at the Vatican on Monday. The Pope recalled his visit to Sweden in 2016 to mark the common commemoration of the Reformation. He also talked about the necessity of prayer, stressing that it's the first step in dialogue so that it is not human projects that indicate the way, but the Holy Spirit.
The Pope held this meeting with a delegation of the Evangelical Lutheran Church from Germany. Bishop Gerhard Ulrich greeted Pope Francis with a big smile and then introduced him to his wife. Then Bishop Ulrich gave a long greeting while he reviewed some dialogue milestones between Catholics and Lutherans, as the document From Conflict to Communion recalls. Pope Francis, for his part, spoke about another important moment, the 2016 commemoration of the 500 years of the Reformation in Lund.
Già il 31 ottobre 2016 ci eravamo incontrati a Lund per caratterizzare in spirito di comunione fraterna ciò che per le ferite del passato avrebbe potuto invece suscitare polemiche e livori.
The Pope explained that in the first place, Catholics and Lutherans are called to love each other. He also insisted that no ecumenical dialogue can move forward if each of the parties remain quiet. He recalled that neither can be elitist in the process of dialogue. To end the meeting, everyone present stood all together and prayed a few moments before saying goodbye.
Looking now at news from around the country, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled in favor of a Colorado baker who refused to make a wedding cake for a same-sex couple on the grounds that his religious beliefs would not allow him to create a cake honoring their marriage. Justice Anthony Kennedy, writing for the majority in the 7-2 decision, noted the case had a limited scope, saying that the issue must await further elaboration. Across the country, appeals in similar cases are pending, including another case at the Supreme Court from a florist who didn't want to provide flowers for a same-sex wedding. In the ruling, the court deemed the specific cake in question was an artistic creation, not just a baked good. It said if a baker refused to sell any goods or any cakes for gay weddings, that would be a different matter, noting that the state would have a strong case that this would be a denial of goods and services going beyond protected rights of a baker. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor were the two dissenting votes in the decision. More news from around the country. Hispanic Latino Catholics under the leadership of the U.S. bishops have been in a two-year process of missionary activity, consultation, leadership, development, and pastoral discernment in parishes, dioceses, and episcopal regions throughout the U.S., working towards the culmination of the 5th Encuentro, which takes place in Dallas in September. Rome Reports takes a closer look.
In September 2016, the U.S. Hispanic bishops came to Rome to present the 5th Encounter. It involves a series of meetings that began in January 2017, in which Hispanics in the U.S. reflected on their contribution to the Catholic Church. It's now in its final stretch, given that the National Encounter will be celebrated near Dallas from September 23rd to the 25th.
Los desafíos son
the challenges are that the world is moving at a very fast rate, that many things are changing, that we haven't interacted with the second, third, and fourth generation. Hispanics are still coming, migration is alive, but 92% of the community is born there. How are we supposed to have an open conversation with them?
To spread awareness of the event's keys and possible outcomes, Palabra magazine has prepared a lengthy dossier. The publication's director explains they closely follow current Catholicism, but look to analyze and expand on especially significant events. Thus, they focused on the 5th Encounter.
It's a
long but important and intense process that the U.S. bishops have set in motion to identify Hispanics' priorities and aim to respond to them. In fact, the Latin world in the U.S. is potentially truly magnificent. They contribute, firstly, from a Catholic Church standpoint, their faith. A goal, a challenge for the future, is for it to not only be a cultural faith, but also a hereditary one.
The 5th Encounter is a process of listening, of transformation, and of pastoral proposal, seeking to revitalize relationships between the Catholic Church and Hispanics in the U.S. The idea is for every Catholic to be aware of his or her own responsibility and live the faith firsthand.
40% of U.S. Catholics are Hispanics, and 60% of them are under the age of 18. And finally in the news, the Archdiocese of Denver is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the death of servant of God Julia Greeley with a Mass at Denver's Cathedral Basilica of the Immaculate Conception June 7th. Her remains were exhumed last year as part of the canonization process for sainthood, and this year she will be entombed in the cathedral in a tomb made of white marble sculpted specially for Greeley in Italy. She will be the first person buried in Denver's cathedral. Greeley was a former slave who had lost an eye as a child when she was whipped by a slave master in Missouri. Following her emancipation, she came to Denver in the 1870s with a woman for whom she worked as a domestic servant. She converted to Catholicism in 1880. On the streets of post-Civil War Denver, Greeley was known for pulling a red wagon full of items such as food, coal, and clothing, and distributing those supplies to poor families throughout the city. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops voted in favor of opening the cause for Greeley's canonization process in 2016. The Mass on the 7th will be celebrated by Archbishop Samuel Aquila and will be held at 5:30 p.m. at the Cathedral. Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper has issued a proclamation declaring June 3rd through the 9th as Julia Greeley Week. And that is all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kevin Nelson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV Network.